It tells the inner truth of what's in their mind. They've been doing that since decades. If it happens in any place within the land of China, they will do it. They'll crash it with tanks or military or whatever they have, and they can be very brutal and very bloody. But this is Hong Kong, so they are really bluffing. The situation is much beyond they can imagine. And those young people are not scared. They're not easily, to be fooled or to.
United
This is their life struggle.
So do you mean a situation like the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests would not happen in Hong Kong?
I will not say it will not happen. I predict it can happen, but it will have a heavy cost on China. And that may become an opportunity for China to change.
But do you think China worries about this cost?
China worries deeply, and they never facing problem as such. It's interesting a game. It's supposed to be one country, two system. And that card they played very well till today. The one system demand its own more like independency and more clearly about their identity. So China is really facing problem.
But what is the next move of the Hong Kong government, for instance? If the Beijing government is facing a problem, what does the Hong Kong government do next? What are its options?
The problem is, in reality, there's no such thing as a Hong Kong government.
Go.
Hong Kong government serves as a puppy for the central government, and whatever it does is really a direction from the central government. So they're just trying to delay and trying to let the demonstration seize itself, but it will not happen like that.
From everything that you're saying, it would appear that the young protesters have the upper hand on the government on the streets of Hong Kong. You yourself have been incarcerated by the Chinese government in the past and in a way understand how the Chinese government thinks. What are the debates, what are the discussions, if at all, happening in Beijing, or for that matter in Hong Kong, if I can put it that way, about how to end this?
So far, it's deadlocked. Beijing will not lose its face, and they cannot allow the Hong Kong government to accept the Hong Kong young people's very rational demanding, to not to call it as a riot, to release all those peaceful demonstrators, and to have some kind of election. And it seems China never had this kind of tradition to listen to demonstrators. They have no way even to negotiate anything. So it's very, very difficult.
So we're in uncharted waters, is that what you're saying?
It's for both sides. It's very difficult.
I just want to go back to a term you used. You call them peaceful demonstrations. You call them peaceful demonstrators. Based on everything that we've seen in the past few weeks, and particularly last night's violence, in which you had the protesters surrounding police buildings, would you still call the protesters peaceful?
I would call it peaceful because on the other side, you can see the use of violent guns, shooting people and arrest thousands protesters. And, they are initiating some kind of violence, but for Hong Kong protesters, they throw some umbrellas or water bottles. I think that's as peaceful you can see when 1 million people demonstrate on the street. I mean, this is most rational. They even clean up the street after demonstration.
I just want to ask you, these protests have been carrying on for about 9 weeks now. Do you think, in your view, they have done something to the psyche of the people of Hong Kong? Has this been a tipping point? Have things changed in Hong Kong?
I think Hong Kong cannot afford to have demonstrations like that. They have a most important company states in China which have deals with states in Hong Kong have great deals working with China. So it's very crucial. And for those young people, they have nothing to lose. There is a generation realize freedom, guarantee their life quality, and this is what they want. So there's no way they can back off.
We'll leave it there for the time being. Ai Weiwei, thank you so much for coming into the studio and speaking to us.
USA did all this， 美國搞㗎。
Turning now to Afghanistan, where right now
USA
many
the
kids
weakest,
aren't
most
at
weakest
school or playing,
nation
but
in the world.
at work,
911
child
truth.
labor remains
Google
a widespread
911 truth.
problem. It's believed that 1 in 4 Afghan children